I can say it. Okay, I can say at this time, um, we've kind of, I would say, maybe gone about almost middle of the season. Seemingly, Christmas is kind of a center point for us, and the majority of us have had an opportunity to work, several games. Uh, and I did see a lot of you doing the holiday tournaments and that kind of thing. Um, and as I shared with Earl, I was just wanting to know from you all, did you have any issues, or did you see anything that we possibly needed to address? That we possibly needed to address. I guess, for me, um, in our game, and John, if you can put the screen up, I mean the PowerPoint. Right. When we take a look at the primary coverage areas, as Earl was saying, there is a need for us to, at the trail, to, come down below that 28-foot line and referee. If we are refereeing, as the teams are moving the ball around and that kind of thing, and shots go up, let's say it goes up from the C, closing down affords us the opportunity to be there to referee rebounding and that kind of thing. Excuse me. So, and along with that, as we take a look at, the transition from the back court to the front court, especially when teams might be pressing. John, if you could go up to, let's go down to 18. Okay. Let's hang right there. Yeah, press coverage. In our game, with press coverage, especially when there was the majority of our players were in the front court, we had a tendency to leak out at the C all the way down to the division line. And, just having a comment, I'm saying, as long as we have players, the majority of our players, in a press situation down in the backcourt now, we need to stay. We need to stay and work that group, down the floor. Because, if not, we're leaving the new trail in a real vulnerable situation. Things can happen, and we just don't have eyes on the plays simply because with the number of players and that kind of thing that's there. So I can say that hey, the lead should have the deepest players in front of the boxed end, and the C stays in the backcourt. The C stays in the backcourt. So basically, C, we still free throw line extended, and as the movement of players affords us the opportunity to transition, down the court, then we would just kind of, I just say, escort them, from one end of the court to the other. That makes it, for coaches. I do know if we're in the area and we have play where we are making a foul call, being in the area affords the opportunity for us to be believed. I think that we saw what we saw. And so I share that. And if anyone has any comments relative to that, like to hear, because please know this is our clinic. It's not mine. It's not Earl's. It's our clinic. Any comments or questions?
Alfonso, I can also just echo the fact that's correct. But in addition to the center going down to see that action, I would also usually in my pregame let the crew know that the new lead over in the front court shouldn't be on the end line. He or she should also be cheated up just a little bit to get some of the action that may be beyond the division line and the free throw line extended of the front court.
Okay, I appreciate that because as stated, I have seen where the leads do go all the way down to the end line and lead basically the C and the new trail, by themselves. So, the diagram here, in this screen 19, the one on the left actually, shows just how the lead should have things boxed in, and he or she's pretty much there somewhere around that 28-foot line, or well, right below the free throw line extended. But again, he or she would have all the players, in front of them, where all three officials would have all 10 players boxed in.
One thing I have the question of, and I saw it I've seen it in my games, but I've also seen it at tournament games, and when I'm seeing it, I know we have put in the policy, hey, for starting lineups, we're going to go to the other side of the court. And most of the time,
Right.
I have seen, even when we go to the other side of the court, the purpose was to not be interacting with players. Well, all we've really done is just made the players run further to get us. And so I don't know, maybe I'm the only one seeing that, but I just wanted us to revisit that and say, are we achieving the goal we want to achieve?
Let me get in there. John.
Okay, go ahead.
John. Yes, we are achieving. We're not congregated at the table, in front of the table. That's the only thing different. The player's going to find us, right? That every game I've been to, they ran across. And during the holiday classic yesterday at Fayetteville State, one official railed down and said, look, again, what we are doing is we at the table now. When we're at the table, we're all right there. It's still a little close. But again, going across, we'll continue to do that, but they're going to come across and get us. That's something really, you can put your elbow out, your fist out. I mean, we can spread out, but we're not going to go back, keep going back and forth. But we're going to continue this, but at least we're not at the table, and we definitely can't social distance right there, even though people are sitting behind. But that's every game I've been to, not most of the time. I mean, every game I've been to, they come looking because, they have the two starting lineups. They have a little line there on each side, and they come out there, and they'll look for the official. They look for the other team. They're going to find us. So, I mean.
All right. Thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
Right. I guess the next item that I'd like to talk about is as we look at court coverage and as we look at making calls and just getting it right. I would say that it is imperative that we slow down, make certain we got, what we thought we had before moving to another location and that kind of thing. Hey, I think we've all been there. Sometimes, we a little bit quick and we move and we might lose the shooter, or we might lose the player who's just, we've just called a foul on. Now we're looking for a number. And, it looks kind of strange when we are, kind of lost in space like that. But again, being patient with the whistle, being patient with, carrying out the responsibilities when fouls are made and called at a particular spot. And, hey, the thing is, got a foul, indicate what the offense is, push, hey, I got a spot out of bounds right here. That lets all of our partners know what the next moves he or she needs to make. Hey, but again, it goes back to pregame when we talk about communications. Communicate. And that's, important not only for ourselves, it's important for the players, and it's important for coaches. And more importantly, it's important for the table folks, because the thing that you don't necessarily want to have is we report and we're about to put the ball back in play and the horn blows. And at that point in time, they want to know, well, who do we call that foul on? So again, patience, I think will prove to be a real advantage for us in our movement and that kind of thing during dead ball situation. Okay. There was some conversation, because I've had maybe 2 or 3 conversations with officials that I was working with, centered around checking the book at the beginning of a contest. John talked about, us leaving the area and going across. But prior to that, we're going to meet with the captains, we're going to meet with the coaches, and the referee has the responsibility of checking the books. And that's book with the S, meaning more than one. Now, I've had some conversation and folks were saying, I didn't know we had to check both books. And here's my point. If you don't check both books against each other, the likelihood is you could have a mess. So it is imperative for us to check both books at the same time to make certain that we got our starting lineup, make certain that we have correct numbers, that players can play in, and the number of players. That's why we walk out on the court and, the U1 and the U2 is counting to see how many players are on both ends, and they in turn communicate that information to the referee prior to him or her going across to check the books. So my comment in this regard is, if you haven't been checking, but let's say the home book, that kind of leaves us vulnerable in the event something, comes up that we should have taken care of ourselves, as opposed to, taking that out on the coaches and that kind of thing. Okay. Earl, do you want to speak to that?
Yes. Now, when we check the books, just like what we have yesterday at both UNCP and FSU, there should have been 3 books there: home team, business team,
Right,
and a tournament book. Okay. We have 2 other tournaments this week, and the next week. That's how it should have it. Now, just the teams playing. We're going to check all that. That's called preventive officiating, because if there's certain requirements, it's got to be here by 4 or 10 minutes. We got to. Sometimes there is a scores error when I think, but someone, where they write the number in there incorrect, they overlook someone. That's all it is. Make sure no one has an unfair advantage. Okay, but they don't. It's only one book there. Hey, we know that's the book of record. All right, we say the home book's already correct. No, our job is to make sure in this way, hey, the books do not leave the table. Okay, sometimes I've had a situation that when I was there just watching the game at no level, middle school, JV, varsity, book stays right there. And the coach wanted to see something. So those are the things you put them right next to each other. Sometimes it can be a problem, but you determine that. Okay, but we're gonna check everything there. And again, I we got a jacket in my pocket. I have a pen because that way someone can't erase something and everything like that. Go over there and make sure they both have the same thing. As far as some people have developed and some do a great job in between quarters, they kind of go over there. Especially in the 3-person concept. Now you got 2 people. The U1 is just R in the U1. You go to center court with the basketball. You go over there. You make sure fouls. All the scoreboards don't have fouls number kept on it. That's when you ask, are we good? Do we have the same thing? Hey, again, all you're doing is keeping them involved in the game. Okay, but we're going to check both books. We're going to sign it. It's important that, hey, I'm at a game and we're asking, hey, you don't even know your partner's name. Make sure you put that in there. Because again, I'm going out this week and talk to a couple of coaches because some things have this season, some may have even yesterday. And that's what I'm gonna tell them. Hey, I want to see the book. That's what I do. We go back and we can that is the chronological things, the way things happen. Where the foul count was 9 and nothing. Okay. Yeah. Because again, we're officiating the game. We're not officiating the scoreboard. We're not to keep things equal. We did 2 things. We're gonna keep it fair and we're gonna keep it safe. So check the book. If you come over there and it's one book and you got 2 teams, you ask them, do they have someone? Hey, the book's gonna be, hey, we want to do that and we're gonna do it prior to the game and make sure it's correct. And before we administer any type of technical foul from numbers, we verify both books. How can this person be in this book with the correct number, the other book or not? And that's why I say you get them together and you talk to both. I mean, because a lot of times this person has to step away. Some is the AD, some of the private schools where this lady, she's not normal, she'll be here. Hey, you make sure that person, and again, I've been noticing quick there when we do our reporting to turn away. Look at the score and make sure they are paying attention. A lot of times the timer say, oh, I'll tell her, I'll tell him, take your time. The ball is stopped. Nothing is going to happen. Nobody's going to do anything until you turn around. When you finish reporting, you turn around, that's when we're going to put the ball in play, shoot free throws or whatever we're going to do.
Right. Let's go to the time keepers. I don't know that we've had a conversation, but the timers. In one of our games, it was a highly contested ball game, and the visiting team was actually, had rebounded and was moving down the court pretty quickly with the hopes that they were going to have a layup. And all of a sudden, the horn goes off. Now, even though we tell the players to play until you hear a whistle, if that horn goes off, in many instances, everything is going to what? It's going to stop. So in that regard, everybody stopped, and I went over to find out exactly what was the problem. And in that particular instance, it was due to the fact that a player who had come into the game was not on the book. And we actually, went on and administered the technical foul, and the other team got the ball at the division line. But I did share with the the timer, anytime a situation like that come up and you got a team that's racing down the court, just let that play out. And, then you can get our attention and afford us the opportunity to, to handle the business that we would like to. I said, because, you know, you might really put somebody at a real disadvantage in the most unopportune time, or whatever. So I share that just from the fact that it was, you know, something that happened in our game that I thought maybe I could share with you all today. You know, we talk about the things that we've had issues with, but I would like to say that, Earl, based on observations and that type of thing, I've seen a lot of good officiating. A lot of good officiating. When we look at mechanics, I actually see the larger majority of our folks, you know, working hard to demonstrate their skill in, you know, hey, the mechanics, stopping the clock, 5-second count, 10-second count, you know, and just communicating. So I will say that, you know, at this point of the season, I feel confident in knowing that we got, you know, folks who are, and I will say this, folks who are actually working hard. Okay. Because, and that's not just, you know, predicated on the fact that your shirt is wet. Okay. You know, some folks perspire more than others, but, you know, you just see, you know, folks who are actually working hard to get into position, to move, to improve, and to, you know, make a difference as it relates to their officiating. I know. Has anybody had anything with correctable errors? Correctable errors. We hadn't had any correctable error situations. Okay. Earl, you look like you maybe had something to say on that.
Well, when you start getting ready, we're going to have this confessions here, Al, at a session where we've had several times where we had the possibility that when I say that, when you say the correctable errors, it pertains to free throws and getting things correct. Because once we do it, and then how much time before we do go back and make the correctable error, as well as that the wrong shooter shooting at the wrong basket. Because I've been several times on there where we had technical fouls. We were going to the wrong basket, the foul shot, and even on yesterday. Again, guys, when there's a technical foul, I mean, technical foul, the free throw is just that. Same things in effect on the free throw. I mean, you don't have to, when we put everybody in the back court, I mean, that doesn't look well for, I mean, because they don't have to be there. I mean, there's, no matter where you are, both benches, they can talk to their players. Fine. Coach comes in there and I see the official tell them when they get back. So again, I mean, just knowing that's a free throw. Now I'm saying correct for errors. I've seen, heard about one situation, but I've had, there's no one-shot technical in high school. I mean, it was during the game, not after the game. I get that situation in a second. Hey, you watch some NBA, they shoot a technical foul and they go with it. Look, if it's a technical foul, it's two free throws all the division line. And we had a situation where they give a technical foul at the end of the game. But I mean, that the clock actually hit zeros. Something happened before the officials left the confines of the court. Observation, you see that happen. Hey, it was a 2-point game. I mean, again, and when something happens, guys, I mean, that for the good of the group, a lot of times, if I get that information or someone else gets the information, we trying to transfer that information, not necessarily that story. First thing you people want to know is who. It's not important who, is that, hey, the next time it happens that we get it right. Okay. So again, we have some case plays, I'll send them out. And that's what that case book does. Odd situations, some things, there's no way we can have 6 local clinics and you're gonna know all the basketball. A lot of situations that the best teacher is gonna be your experience. The thing about this is you can learn from others. Not necessarily you can learn from your own mistakes, but also others. And that was an opportunity that we had because it was a 2-point difference in score.
Okay.
And it was, and then at that time, the offended team, went there, could have opportunity to tie the game and go in overtime. Or they missed one. I mean, we'd have shot that one. But everybody, not only for us, the players, the spectators, everybody could learn something. We failed in that man. So that's why when that brings up things about this, is that if it happens in your game, guys, I didn't get one phone call from either coach or anybody else. But the thing about it, what about us? Because again, had that happened sometime later in the season, it may still happen. And we handle it, people are gonna refer back to what was before. That's why it's always important that we do it right. Okay, so we might correctable errors, but a few times, and the game can't be everywhere. Some of y'all do a good job of letting me know this happened in your game. Hey, did I do this correctly? And again, the rule book, the case book, or perfect publications and things that you can use to go back in the game and say whether someone, how they establish themselves back in the play. When they run out of bounds or they got forced out of bounds, legal guard position, those type of things. But the correctable errors, again, I've seen where they went from, they didn't shoot a bonus free throw, and then they went right to the double bonus. And I say that, but in the game, the officials got it correct because the 17th foul was a player control foul. The 18th foul was a team control foul. The 9th foul was a shooting foul. So of course, when they called that foul and they went to number 10 and they went to double bonus, even though some of the spectators and some of the people on the bench thought they should have been in the 1-and-1, it's a double bonus. Okay, so again, we stop in the game. Sometimes I see officials get together. But again, hey, when you have definite knowledge, and Al just talked about the clock. Okay, when the ball's in the front court, that's all that happened. The ball's in the front court. They're passing the ball around, the clock didn't start. And you go over there and you take some time off the clock. I didn't see anybody. If you want to take time off the clock, and you should go from the back court to the front court, there has a 10 seconds. If you're in the front court and you have a closely guarded situation, you're counting. And you can have it for what? At least 12 seconds, because they can hold it for 4, they can dribble for 4, being closely guarded, and they can hold it again for 4. Now, if you have none of those situations, I don't know how you can accurately do that. So because again, we don't guess fouls, we don't guess on the clock. Okay, so we're in the front court, and that clock is not started, and everybody should know the stats of the clock every time. So it's starting. Hey, every time you got a glimpse up there. Times that you don't have a competitive matchup right in front of you. Once the clock is started, pretty much it stays until the whistle blows or a horn goes off. All right. So again, you making those when they say correctable errors. I saw that happen correctly when in the game it wasn't running during the backcourt. As soon as it got front court status, the official blew the whistle, came over to the clock, and got it correct. All right, definite knowledge. While I was talking about I'm gonna get back to the clock here. Now, timers. Now, I don't like to get in and call names in certain schools, but there is a school that we have that, hey, if you have an issue, someone at the scores table, be a scorer or a timer. I mean, do your best you can to work through it that evening and call me, send me a text, something that night. Okay, because what I don't like to do, hey, they playing the next day, and I got to tell them 2 or 3 times. It's not personal. I mean, sometimes I don't like to think it's first personal anyway. So if they having a problem with Al McCray on Tuesday night, Errol Danes go over there on either Thursday night, Friday night, whatever the case may be, but he's the same person. She's the same person. So if you have an issue, hey, it's not that tone, and because right now it's not what you say, sometimes it's how you say it. I mean, they're part of the officiating team. We're gonna treat people two ways, and always with dignity and respect. But again, I have witnessed that because I've not been off the court that long to know some of the same people that are on those tables. And when you go there, and I did have a situation where I had to talk to the, and I'll talk to the AD. I'm going to visit him this week. You have an issue there. Let's work through it. Be professional. Hey, look, okay, just again, stay with me. Hey, when we chop it in, we expect the clock to start. Hey, when the whistle goes, we put our hand up. We either got a foul or violation. Hey, we want the clock to start. Those things, you start adding that. Hey, we need an adversarial type relationship with the person who's part on the officiating team, that scorer and the timer. But I did have an issue. So, and one of the officials that called me, he's on the call right now. So I don't need to get that directly, but I will speak to that AD and say, look, hey, here's what we got to do. Everybody need to know their role and play their position. As long as everybody stay in their lane. I mean, because we got some, they're on that sideline. They're calling fouls. You go over there to do something, they're shaking their head like, no, that wasn't a foul. So again, just don't be too sensitive. But if you get to where, just let me know about it. Because trust me, that's. Go ahead.
Let me ask a question on the sport fouls. If a score, she's not keeping the accurate foul that the official calling, but the visitor team has the right count, but the home team are not keeping it because she's a young lady on the bench, varsity level. And we know as official that there is more than 16 fouls to administer the next foul as a 1-and-1. Do we go with the home book or we go with the visitor books? You just stated it, make sure that both books are correct, but the rule is that with the home book is the official book.
Correct. And great question, Bruce. And in saying that, again, like our thing is what? Not to just to be right, hey, home book. We want to get it right. Because again, when you go in that book, and I've had that happen to me, and where, hey, okay, you just got to count. I mean, said we got 6, one got 6, one got 7, whatever the case may be. Hey, all right, now it's not just the number, it's the name. Okay, Bruce Lewis, first name, hey, he had a push. Hey, Al McCray, we don't count them in this half. And that's why we clear the clock at 10. I mean, we come back, we do all things, then we're going to count by person. Who's the foul on, who's the hit. Because every foul, that number, it corresponds with a play. I mean, and again, when you do that, I mean, it takes it off because again, like what Bruce was saying, that hey, we know. I mean, I call 3 fouls. The 3 fouls call, hey, we go back and we get if every number is associated, just like those points associated with the player. You go back and we get that. So that adds up. And then we say, look, we are sure, okay, now, no problem. We got it right. Look, just y'all get together. Hey, slow us down. Because we don't want to lose that person at the table. Because somebody, I don't know, trust me, somebody has told the person that got 6, no, you are right. The other person 7, no, you are right. They're both not right. We're gonna go down, we're gonna get exactly that. And when we get that, and all we gotta do, and that's why sometimes when I get calls and people tell me about the game, guys, you're there in real time. You know, look, the person on the table, I've been in games with Bruce Lewis, I've been with Al McCray. Look, hey, we don't say, look, hey, she's slow, she's horrible. Hey, look, we don't like people telling us like that. Hey, you got to make sure she gets the foul. Look at, so don't turn away, kind of get that little nod. Hey, 1-on-1. Last time she gave it to what? I was looking at the number. No, listen, I'm going to tell you, ma'am, if you have any questions, let me get it straight. Are you good? We're going to go back at that time. We're going to count. That's all you got to do. Oh, look, okay, we started second half. The beginning of the last quarter, it was 3-3. Now it's 6. So you only got to count those fouls. But like I say, let's don't have to be right. Hey, let's just get it right. Because at times, you know, we can go and designate, okay, we're going to use this person as a home book. And we can tell them both. And some of those they're learning. We got Douglasburg, several schools, they got new people on the clock. At some point, they can't be new. You can't be new all year. All right. You get to the point where you know that. And some of you all are going to go back and we talk to each other. Okay, when I was at Bird, this happened. I was at Pine Forest. I was at Sweat. So when you go there, just reassure the person when you're doing that, and the referee goes over and has that meeting. After you talk to it, what you got, captains, you got the book. You kind of, when you're over that 10 minutes, you can kind of tell. Look, hey, if I don't put my hands, if I don't do this, give you the sign. Hey, some of them look out there and they'll put a 3-pointer down because that's what they saw with a 3-pointer. They don't see that again, and that's why you go in and you talk to them. Look, just hey, we don't do this here. If you have a question, sometimes you give a number that's not in the book. You get a number that, hey, instead of saying 21, you look at the number, you see it just a 2, you get 2, and they'll over there try to figure it out. They'll put it down. Well, he must have been number 12. I mean, so again, just stop, count the fouls. And to get to that point, Bruce, just go over there and make them, and then really, an official that's over there, do it. Now, if you need to call the referee over, because we still got to watch the players. So hey, you're the closest official to the table, just stop and they let them count this half, this quarter. What do you got? Count. Okay, this is where we are. Are we good? Because they'll say, because somebody done made a mistake. It is a mistake. They both can't be right. But that's a good point, Bruce.
Earl and Al, this is Steve James. I was officiating at a game that the district requires the officials and players to wear the mask. But when a foul was called, the score indicated to me that she really couldn't understand the number that was called because we had our mask up. Is that appropriate to pull your mask down so you can give the number clearly to the scores table and then put it back up?
Yes, sir. In that case, let me tell you this. Right now, you're losing good signals. In America, we read from the left to the right. You got a number right in front of you, out to the side, they can see, and you announce the number. All right. Now, again, now you're talking to. Did you have 2 people there? Was it both books there? I mean, you got the main person.
Yes, sir. Both books was there.
Was it a problem for both or just one?
Well, the home book indicated to me that she couldn't understand what we were saying because we kept our mask up.
Okay. What I'm saying is that, so a lot of times, if it's a person that can't hear, now, again, when we start the call, now, and last night at UNCP, they may not understand any of their numbers. When they said, these are good numbers, hey, it's 12. You got to look at them. And people looking at whether they're reading it, they're looking at you, you got your number. I got to say 22. If you got 22, they don't have to hear it. They got what? 2, 2. Now, if that's a person, sometimes they say, hey, I can neither of you hear. Some of them want to just, baby them. What I'm saying is that, hey, but if that's what it takes to get it right, you just got to give the signals and everything else. You can just reiterate. You can take the mask down and just repeat the number. But when you report it, we don't want you putting the mask. I want you to come over there, 2 hands out where they can see it, out away from the body, and give the number. Okay. And after that, you can put it down as before you turn. But we don't want to, because again, they're not. I mean, I think that's more of a 1 person, 2 people saying that, because when the DMs are loud, and they say there's no way they understood just 15. They didn't hear that. They saw a 1 in 5. Trust me, they saw that. At UNCP last night, you didn't hear anything. I mean, you could barely hear the whistle. It was all the time, coach, all the time out. Hey, because you got to be seen. You got to make yourself visible, because it was that kind of electric atmosphere. That's what it takes. We want to get it right.
Okay. I did have a message from the chat room, and it had a question about double fouls. Double fouls. Rule 6.2 states that a double foul is a situation in which 2 opponents commit personal fouls against each other at appropriately the same time. In the case of double fouls, we should remember awarded and play shall resume at the point of interruption. There would be no free throws. In this particular instance, the question was, we had double fouls and one team was in the bonus and the other one was not. There's no free throws shot. We just report both fouls and we go back to the point of interruption. So if you know, A is, you know, had it and they're going to get the ball back out of bounds at the spot of the fouls. Any questions?
Wow,
Yes,
it's Darryl Page here.
Darryl.
I
Mhm.
just want to just clarify something. You got a double foul down there. You're gonna go back to the point of interruption. It's where the ball is at or where the foul is at.
Where the foul is at. I'm sorry. Yeah. We would go back to where the foul was called, isn't it, Darryl?
If it's normally a double foul, we'll go back at the point of interruption, which where they had the ball at. Is that correct? Where they had the ball at. So if they got the ball up at the top and you got a double foul
Right.
down in the paint, we're gonna take the ball back out of bounds where the interruption occurred at, where the ball was at, where the ball was located at, was up at the top in the say top of the key area.
That's correct.
Yes.
The ball should go
But that
back
would
to
be
where the ball
smart.
location.
Okay,
Right. That would be the point of interruption. That would be the point of interruption. Yes.
that's the
Mhm.
point of interruption. Okay, all right.
Because that's the point, and everybody understands that's where the ball went, and it went dead. And the ball, now it's time.
Right.
When you blew the whistle, boom, that means it's dead right then. So that, where was the ball when we stopped play?
There you go.
That's where it was interrupted. Where was the ball at when we stopped play?
That right. Okay.
And the other thing, guys, and sometimes, guys, when the coach has a question, just real quick, tell them, just like what we just talked about here, is, hey, we're going to be, it's not sometimes what you call, it's what you can explain. So if you can say, if you say the point of interruption, if that's what your understanding is, that's what it used. That's in basketball term, point of interruption. I did have to explain that to last week. Got some video replay and one of the ADs, and they was trying to explain to me what, again, guys, just because someone says they're gonna call me, just somebody questioned you, don't worry. You should have definite knowledge about what you're doing. And they can't answer the question, but they did. Somebody called me and they said, Errol, this is what they did. And I told them that's exactly the right thing. Because everybody doesn't know. We use point of interruption. When the ball became dead, that's where plays was stopped.
Yeah. I also have another one here on the chat. It reads, we had an issue late Tuesday during a high school game, varsity boys game. During an intentional foul late in the fourth quarter, the R had to eject the official timer when he came out on the court cursing. I've never witnessed that, but if that kind of situation happens, we just have to find whomever is responsible for, supervising that game and let them help us get rid of that timer.
Yeah, and in saying that, now, anytime we have to, someone's ejected or disqualified from contest, I'm going to make this clear. I need to know before you even leave the campus, all right? Because they reject that timer, but that's for that night. We know what happens when a player gets ejected or coach get ejected.
Right.
Okay, because I have a problem because, like I say again, they're on the officiating team, and we use those terms now. And what was the ejection for? Not for what's coming on the court, was ejection for profanity. Because what we have in high school, for those that use that, it's courses they have. For the coaches, right? Role modeling behavior, and for the players, that's all sportsmanship things they have to do. I would like to, do the same thing. So sometimes they look, I had ejected. We don't eject fans. We don't eject
Right.
fans. We don't eject timers. Hey, they can we can move them from the table. We can ask the what game the administrator. Because they say, hey, 0 tolerance on profanity. We just point them out, and what game the administration does that. But if they come back out the next time, and like I say, I mean, I want to make sure they get the proper training and know what we're gonna permit to happen. And I say that, you know, we hear all the time, what you permit, you promote. There's no way if we're gonna do that to a player, coach, or participant in the game. Hey, why would we let them? So again, if that shit happens, the game administration should be letting me know that, hey, we remove this person, and the next time, you know, what they're gonna be out. So again, guys, we had a situation where that, hey, I didn't find out, you know, I see it in the paper. Sometimes it's misinformation. There's some misinformation that goes on out there. When you don't make it clear that, hey, because it was in the social media and some other places that we had the game ended because there was a fight, and there was no fight. But then it comes back to me, and it just like a bad situation. But anytime someone is removed from the game by a participant, I mean by that a coach or a player, by the official or the game day administration, you had to point someone out, you had to go back, hey, just shoot me a note. You don't have to get their name or anything like that. But I mean, I would like to know again, because it's going to be the next night, the next playing day. You know, we're going to have a crew there. They're going to represent the same association, and I don't want to send someone there be with the same unruly timer. That, you know, official A go back. Now you got official C. He goes in. Now it's the same thing. So we're not going to have that.
Okay. Well, Mr. Daniels, you know, from my perspective, those were the items that I had listed to discuss today. And again, I just like to open it up for any of the other officials if they have some questions that they might want to, you know, send in the chat, or just, you know, discuss it while they're online.
One thing I get it started, guys. I hope you have a few questions, but I got several things here. One thing was brought up, we had in the tournament schedule for the Cumberland County Schools Holiday Classic, 32 teams and 2 teams, 1 girls team, 1 boys team, were both in our area. One was Hope County with the Hope County boys and E.E. Smith girls. Had COVID issues and not participating in the tournament. They replaced the boys team with New Life. Okay, but my point here is that I got an email from a veteran official. Hey, ask valid points, because both of those are our teams, and we officiate their games, all their home games. When they play one another, we have, you know, both home and away. Did a good thing last year. I got like 3 calls during the season last year, where one was we had a game on a Friday night, and one of the players that came up, he was positive on Sunday for COVID. I was notified by the AD. Another time it was like on a Tuesday. I got notified on a Thursday that someone, when they got tested, now when that happens, I will let you know. We don't do contact tracing per se. They know when that game was played. I always ask the question when they called me, and I have asked them. It's very frustrating for me is that, hey, why would you test somebody in the first situation when did he get tested? Why? Because I would say the same thing for you. If you, and that situation has come up during this last year, is that where if you get tested and then say, well, I feel okay, look, until you get your results, you're not going to go out for possible, because hey, when you come back negative, oh, there's no problem. What if you come back positive? I can have you out there. I try to do that same thing analogy with the coaches when I say coach, the ADs. So if there's a positive test, but I did talk to the AD, and they look, okay, you saying that you got a positive test. Hey, if it's COVID, because some of the changes and cancellation has nothing to do with COVID. They know holiday time, they enough players, vice different things. But if there's an issue where someone comes up positive, you had a game. I mean, they'll know when they got tested, when the results come back, because it's not no definitive. Hey, this is the guidance we're gonna do for, student athletes. I don't know how often they get tested, but when they do, I will contact you. The entire crew did it several times last year, at least 3 times. Did it on basketball season last year, where I was told, and then I had to reach out and tell them. So, but everybody else, I mean, I want to explain, that hey, so I tell you, look, this what was given. In fact, we had one time where the 2 officials and the team was waiting for the other team to show up, and the parents stopped the bus about 5 minutes away from the school because her son was on the bus they was going to the game. He had a positive test. They stopped. We were getting ready to play the basketball. So that happens. I do. So normally when they call and they're gonna say, look, we're gonna make a game change, and that's up to them. They can make those changes. When they don't play, and I ask them if it's a COVID related issue, I normally ask a couple of questions. Normally I don't get that from the coach. I get it directly from the athletic director. Do follow up that, and I will notify you if that's the case. At the same time, as I say, and unfortunately, or fortunately, however you look at it, that team came to the game yesterday. But they'll test it, and I will get that information to you. And that's the closest they do for contact tracing. Again, we don't monitor the vaccinations. We don't keep them here. I mean, I don't ask you about whether you've been vaccinated or not, if you had the booster shot. But some counties, I was made aware of that, and I guess in Wake County, in order to play, you had to have both vaccinations. They still play with a mask. You can see the numbers going up. Again, practice social distancing. When Steve talked about, hey, they can't understand that, you take the mask down or put it back. Again, great job. I watched the games. Hey, people coming out, whether you got the gator or not, in the pregame, you wearing the mask, we close proximity to the coaches. I mean, I haven't seen not one gym I've been in where spectators or people on the bench been wearing a mask. And I don't know what it is. I mean, I see sometimes a coach has a mask on, but that's the rule for most LEAs. An update in Moore County, as of last Wednesday, Thursday, I think, there is no mask mandate on the court. They were when we started. They changed it. Went from the official, as well as the AD sent me a text that day in Moore County. So that's the school that we do. The public school is being Pinecrest. Not sure. I'll find out about O'Neill, but the LEA there is no more mask mandate going for active participants. So they're on the court. They do not have to wear a mask. I did, like I say, I think last week I shared that with you all. I did have on the game, got a call from an AD because one of the officials, a player, summoned the substitute on to the court, and they basically made a mandate for the player to take the mask off. It's optional for a player. Okay, just like it's optional for you. Mask mandate means there is no option. Everybody must have it. Other than that, don't tell a player they must take their mask off. No scenario where a player has to take the mask off. A couple of things. I'm going to meet. Like I say, I've gotten a few video clips and review. They was playing for something this weekend. That was a championship, so you're going to get that at times. I'm going to send, when I get video, and if I send a video to you, we're not in a good place here, and that's just because of who we are, what we've our past. When we look at video, we more or less like to look at who did what and what game. I like to do it as learn something from it. But and I will share it with you. I got to owe that to a crew that I spoke to earlier last week. Some things you're gonna put something on tape. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be bad. It's on tape. It's however you receive it. But if you learn from it, you're gonna turn something bad into something good. Okay. Things that when I look at things, and just like on calls, I had a long talk with a coach yesterday. I'm going to meet with him this week. There's three things when I look at video. You make a call, it's either the incorrect call, correct call, or it could be a quality call. You can get the call correct, doesn't mean it's a quality call. Okay. So most times, I tell a coach that, coach, that was the correct call. I mean, what's it called? But what it is, it's a difference. We are all trying to get to the Boston. We're all trying to get championship games, playoff games, sectionals, regional, state championships. But again, the call that you make in certain games, game is, hey, we had a triple overtime game yesterday. And yesterday in the tournament, we had a triple overtime game. The calls in that game, we're not, if you go to the same thing played in the championship game, may not necessarily be a quality call. It could be the exact same thing. So again, to those that want to be right fighters, but in the context of that game, that's why sometimes the coaches send me a clip. I tell them, look, coach, I need to know what happened, for like 5 minutes before or there, 5 minutes after. They may have been calling that same thing that way. If it was a carrying, palming, or this here, hey, again, coach, sometimes you have to get things in context. So I look at the clip, and the two clips I have to go over with the guy, the coach, they were correct calls. I mean, I don't. So just go, and I have not notified the crew about that because they got them right. So when if I send you something, I just want your honest opinion. And in the game, guys, we have to be engaged in the game, right? You're there. Some games, hey, well, it's not like an administrative technical. But if that game's need a technical foul, get things in hand. We need to do that. Okay. Hey, using the warning. Hey, it's not, some coaches say, hey, some days you don't, it's not necessary. You don't have to do a warning, especially if somebody, there's some egregious over the line. Okay. Again, as a crew, I mean, put the warning in the book. And some coaches get upset about the warning. Hey, warning doesn't, hey, all it does is put you what? On notice. All right, that's it. But normally when you warn them, they have done enough to get a technical foul right then. Out of the box, you ask again. Now, one thing, guys, something I said about perfect in out sets. Those that came to the clinic on the 5th of December and Bill Sepp and Lumberton. We're going to be perfect in our set. One of the things here that I got to deal with yesterday is that the official referee and the officiating team never asked the coach team legal and properly equipped. Now you would ask, why would a coach say that to them? They never ask him. You don't have to answer this out loud. Just think. You think you won or lost. That has no effect on the game. None. Zero effect on the game. Has nothing to do. But I had that asked to me. You know what? The crew, they never asked. And the thing about it, he didn't say it from the referee. He was talking about another guy on the crew. They never asked. But again, hey, I listened to it and look, why wouldn't we do that? But when people will find things to complain about, I can deal with that. But see, there's no excuse. There's no excuse you won't ask. Because who's responsible for that? Because the only answer we're going to accept is what? Yes. We're not going to go further. So again, those how things, when I say, well, that's petty, well, but of course, I can live with that because what? It had nothing to do with the game. Now it's because, hey, look, I knew right then what the outcome of the game was. But perfect in our sets mean we're going to do everything perfect. I mean, they're not on the court at 12 minutes to do the captains, that's okay. We're gonna make sure we go out. We're gonna talk to the captains. We're gonna check the book. We're gonna do all, we're gonna meet with, come over with the coaches. He come in, normally come over about 2 minutes. He came over, he never asked a question. Okay, coach, hear that. But I don't need, hey, that's what I was saying about being perfect in our sets. I mean, we're not focused. We're gonna ask the coach, we're gonna look at him in the eye and ask all your players leaving the public. And the only answer we're gonna accept is yes. And I think so, he should be, okay. I say, I'm gonna talk to him again this week about a couple other things. Like I said, I'm gonna meet with 2 or 3 coaches because this week, I'll get to this right now. We had 2 tournaments this week. Just yesterday, we were scheduled to have 22 games. We ended up at 21 because the one 7th place game we didn't have at the girls' game. So we had 21 basketball games yesterday. This week, we have Pinecrest and Anson County, the Bearcat Classic, and we have Holiday in the Pines tournament, 22nd and 23rd. Next week, we have 3 tournaments. We have a 2-day tournament at Clinton on the 27th and 28th. We have a at West Bladen. West Bladen, we have games the 28th, the 29th, and 30th. Those over there is going to be all boys. And in East Columbus, we have games on the 27th and 28th. That I will put out today. When I say that, it will put on the master calendar today. Now, with those games, Clinton and West Bladen, the first game starts at 2 p.m. At East Columbus on 27th, they start at 1 p.m. Now, I've signed the games for this week. Already signed every game we got this week. I've already signed. Now, some of the games are, I think maybe 10:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock. Now, I've asked people to update their order. When we get off this call, I'm gonna see who's accepted, who's declined. All right. For next week, I'll look at this, and I've asked you. That's why we have the master schedule available, so you know when the game's going to be. I ask people to do the arbiter. You would text me, you put it on your decline. Hey, why you can't? Because your work schedule, because you thought you had blocked out, or you don't. I'm going to talk to certain people this week because you haven't done anything to your. I want you to work. I don't want this to be a lost season. Again, you sign up to basketball. All your orbit does tells me when you get able to work, and I look at that as that you want to work. You block out, I won't even see your name. When I pull up that game, and it says Anson at 3 o'clock, your name won't even appear as a possible candidate to work that job. But what's frustrating is that you show available, I give you the game, then you can't work, right? Or you send me an email. I mean, but if you told me that Auburn, it wouldn't be that, okay? I want to get the only reason I didn't sign the games, now I can start signing the games starting the 1st of January right now. Next week, next I will be signing the first 2 weeks of January. All right. But next week we're gonna have an arbiter class. If you don't want to attend, fine. But if you know you need some help with the arbiter, how to do it, you need to attend that class. I'll put it out, whether it's 2 people, 20 people. But it's gonna help me, it's gonna also help you. All right. We're gonna have that. We're gonna offer next week, we're gonna offer some on-court training. All right. For the most part, what Al was saying is correct. I've been to the middle school game every day. There's middle school being played. I mean, some of you, for most of you, you work hard. You work hard. I know, work harder in the varsity than you do in the middle school. But if you're assigned a middle school assignment and you're a veteran official, then you may not, the game may not be what you want on that day. But give that game the same energy and the same attention that you would get at varsity game. Your partner deserves it. The game deserves it. For those players. the student athletes deserve that. Now, okay, the on-course session. One thing here I got yesterday, that when you go to a game, now a lot of times everybody should have that have ability to have a pass. You request for your pass, you have to do it on Dragonfly. Or you do it on the same thing when you sign in. You go down further, you got request for a card. You do multi-sports, you just put basketball. You do that basketball, it's approved by the NCAA. They closed their offices on this past Friday, but the individual, Ms. Melissa Knight, who does this, will be working from home, because I told her I want to get everybody to request for their pass to get it during the time frame, because we come back to school, I want January, be ready to go. Now, if you haven't done all your requirements, you're not going to, it takes a matter of seconds. Once you request for it, they check and you've issued it. Now, they don't count in your local association or the booking fees or those kind of things. But the question course, the $31, insurance, the registration, all those things are. So if you don't get it, that's why. Okay, get that pass. Go ahead and request for it and get that. Now, we're saying that a lot of people, a lot of officials went out and observed basketball games, and we do that periodically. I would ask that you do this. On the court, we say it's 3 teams. We got a home team, visitor team, we got officiating. And we all have people in the audience. We always have people, other officials there watching what we do. Okay. Now, in the game, several times this week, you all had games in the season, and people will say my name. They will say, I'm going to call Errol. Hey, I'm going to tell Mr. Whatever they say, they insinuate that. I intimidate by doing things. If you're in the game, I would ask that, hey, when they say that, you just give them a warning in the book. If they're going to tell me, why are they telling you? Why do they want you to know they're going to call me? All right. But I really don't have a problem. I mean, just put a warning in the book. Because that's, and when you tell me that, because I had yesterday, somebody called me, you know, they're doing that quite a what? Change how you do that. They're not, and that doesn't bother me so much if they call me. But here's what I didn't like, what I've heard is that an official at a game, not a game day official that works, tells the coach to call me. If you're at a game and you don't like the way fellow officials call a game, why would you, don't tell an official to call, or tell a coach to call me, you call me. Okay? Because that right there is not being part of me. Because right there, know what? I would just let everybody know on the call here. I normally talk to athletic director. Okay. I am the regional supervisor. So now I don't get it. And the coach, their supervisor is the athletic director. And they get changes to the schedule and those type of things. And some are both. You know, some coaches are both the athletic director and the AD and the coach. But for the most part, I talk to the athletic director. Coaches are emotional. And about, and like I say, but I talk to them anytime. Again, but you're an official, you tell a coach to call me because the way that game was officiated, I'm going to probably talk to you. Because if you thought that something wasn't right, I mean, hey, this is America. All right, we get to do what? We get to confront our accusers. I mean, but if miss a play, that's what I tell the coaches. Coach, don't tell me about the game. Tell me about particular plays. So that's what we do. We officiate plays. Okay. So about the professionalism, if you have a right to say, look here, hey, this person, you missed 3 calls during the game. I can live with it. I mean, we say that. Oh, but it seems like if you missed all 3 of them on the same team, miss all. There's no, I haven't seen somebody can go in 32 minutes. All the things that happen that can affect the game that much. Get it? Yes. People, those 10 competitors has more to do on the outcome of that game, any official, than any coach. Okay. Again, but I don't want officials telling coaches call the supervisor. I mean, if you do that, you call me first. All right. The local clinic attendants. Now, John Owens sent me, he compiled based on here. We started call today. It was at 4 o'clock, at 4:04, it was 58 people. Now we have 77. I think it was 78 a minute ago. Right. Now we have 150 on the roster. All of them not officiating, some not. We'll clean that all up. I mean, everybody who's not officiating, probably when we start off in January, they won't be on the roster. Okay. I think for the most part, I think everybody's worked games. I know a couple people have not worked an assignment. I still have people who not reviewed this before this call. Then this week, we have some people not paid the local association, not joined, or have not registered, not paid booking fee. Some have not attended clinics. Hey, maybe they worked a couple of scrimmages. You have done all those things. It was somewhere where you can work. Yes. Will you get what you put in? I hope so. So if you didn't put in much, you're not going to get much out. Okay, that's what I go. But I'm gonna give my emphasis about the people that's doing what they're supposed to do. Okay? I get a lot of calls, a lot of this. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to get to you this week because we have no games on Monday. Well, we do have a couple of games on Monday. I will tell you, same kind of schools. Some schools will still have regular season games up on Monday and Tuesday. They're out from the 22nd, January the 6th. Still have games this week, regular season games, and we have, like I say, those two tournaments. I'll call you and ask to meet with you or have a conference call with you. I want to discuss certain things. But again, it helps when you and I both, we have an understanding. We don't have to agree on things, but we have an understanding. It's where I should, based on what your actions, I should know really what your goals are. Your goals are, based on if you don't go to any clinics, you don't do this here, you do the minimum, you're telling me that's all you want. Okay. So we'll discuss that. I'll send some things out for video review for those that sent some clips in. Some of them make clips. I'll start having some video goals out, video clips we put out there. I will probably let you know. I mean, for the group, hey, I meant for this because everything's so personal. When a coach asks a question about a certain play, I look at it as, hey, they want to know what's the ruling, how we officiated. I tell them, hey, this is how I want the play officiated. But also there's what the spirit of that rule. Because most of the idea, I'm very pleased with officiating as far as getting it, within the rules. Sometimes we get a little, just like in the game, people hollering at you, screaming at you. Everything I do is wrong, and we have some momentary lapses like, hey, okay, but don't let that emotionalism match that of the coach and of the players. Okay, I've seen people deal with some incidental language. Again, when we address things, you get somebody a taunting technique. You get technical taunting. That's not a disqualification. Taunting is an ejection. Be careful what you say. All right. If it's an unsporting, you can disqualify somebody for something unsporting. If you had a flagrant technique, I mean, in it, one action, if that one play caused someone to be removed from the game, it's an ejection. That's the way I learned it. That's the way it worked for me. That one act got him out of the game, that's an ejection. There's several second technical foul, 5, common fouls, whatever the case may be. All right, but we're going to have some of that, over the next 2 weeks. The regular season, up to this point, by Wednesday of this week, every game that you have officiated for, you should have been paid for by Wednesday this week. Schools that I pay, schools that not paid, I will talk to every athletic director. You have a game at West Bladen, at Purnell Square, at any school, Fairmont, that has that they on site, you assign those games, you need to accept them as soon as possible. When I say that, what they do, like I say, this week, I think I sent it out to those people who had accepted the game because they had to cut off the bookkeepers, the treasurers, they go on vacation. So if I sent those games, if I send you an email, that's why I'm doing it. Not because I want to just know, hey, are you going to do the game? And those schools that pay on site. Now, private school, public school, the Roberts County shootout, the tournament in Cumberland County, by Wednesday, you should have paid for every game that you've worked. In the mail, not shoot me a text. Every game that you've worked, right out. And starting, we're gonna have a new procedure starting in January 2022. Do some things with the arbiter. We'll have now. Hopefully, we'll have this worked out by then. But when we go into January, it's gonna be as far as the schools that with the arbiter, there's gonna be no change. However, we're gonna put more emphasis on trying to make people get paid the same day. The like I say, if you have some administrative requirements that you haven't met, they just get them done. I don't need to just get them done. We know in the new year, a lot of local recreation, a lot of communities going to start the basketball program, baseball, and all other spring sports. We got baseball, softball, lacrosse, girls soccer season. All those will start having their clinics. And we have a lot of multi-sport officials. And guys, I mean, keep your arbiter up to date. And hey, you know, that's not counting the weather, it's not counting COVID. A lot of things going. Let's communicate. Let's have some integrity when you doing things. And in saying that, I would like to say, Cumberland County Holiday Basketball Classic was also co-sponsored by SSOA. That's us. All right. That's not just basketball. That's all our sports program. We include wrestling, lacrosse, soccer, volleyball, football, basketball, baseball. And saying that, yesterday we were able to honor all those state championships that we just held. And the state championships for volleyball, for instance, they came out, all four were there to receive their state championship. That was Darrell Buck, Elizabeth Locklear, and Keith Atkins, basketball officials. They were there to get their state championship plaques at center court. And also, and we had the soccer and their regional supervisor, Ernie Fisher, presented them theirs. In the football, the referee for football state championship, Frank Johnson, Anthony Ferguson, Roger Williams, all got theirs. Roger worked the independent school state championship, and Tony Ferguson and Frank Johnson. Frank served as the referee in the NCHSA state tournament just last week. We're going to get those awards out in a more timely manner. Also, two basketball officials, Mike Seals, he was the PA announcer all four games, and Ronda Groves kept the scorebook. Now, coming in January, we're going to start sending out observers. All right, when I say that, it may be even next week if you got tournaments, not this week, but next week. And I'll put that out. We know they'll start coming out because, again, we gear toward getting people improved. Things to make you better. If you are better in the year when you started, it's a success. What level of success, we can take that, we can talk about that. But the key thing is we want to get you, we want you to be better. And these observers coming out there, they're gonna ask, hey, are you working at the right level? That's what I ask them. And if you're not downgrade you, it's not that good, but it's to get you, to make you better. We're gonna start to send them out with a lot of competitive games, but a lot of parity within the different conferences and those things as going forward. Whoever will come there, they will be there to make you better. they're going to probably point out some things that you do well and you need to improve on. Okay, because you're going to be either getting better or you're getting worse, not staying the same. Okay, so again, and when they go out there and watch your game and tell you something, you don't have to agree to what they're saying. Again, I would give them a baseline of what I want, what I expect. Showing up on time. Some of you do a great job of, I don't know, just getting on time. If you're not, call. Others not so well. All right, we need to work on that. Yeah, hey, there's a lot of traffic out there. You're going down certain highways. It ain't always got construction, but let each other know. Hopefully, we have not as many changes as we've had so far, because it's a lot of changes. That's the only thing that's been constant here. Changes. Now this week, again, some games started as early as 10:30. I think that's what it is on Wednesday morning, Thursday morning at Pinecrest. During the holiday, when I put the games out, just your blocks where if you can't work, you can't work. But this is just frustrating. I'm signing the same game over and over. Check the orbit on a routine basis before you leave for your assignment on that particular day, because things do change. There are going to be some couple other, someone from Fort Bragg. I mean, Bill Henderson has Fort Bragg. I didn't want to leave them out. He says game starting on the 5th of January. Another person called me All Army, whatever they play out there. They got some games coming up. But again, as long as you're out there officiating basketball, that's good. Keep your mechanics. And I mean, because this is a high school game. I signed high school basketball, right? And doing so, hey, again, we know some of them do different things different. Again, use those in the high school game. I'll put the ejection and the disqualification, report one instruction for that. Guys, that's not hard. That is not hard. People do enough to get ejected. They do enough activity to get disqualified. We want to give them their benefits. Okay. So we don't get a situation where someone does some act up in this game here Tuesday night. We don't do what we're supposed to do in the game Friday night. Something else happens. Then they go back and say, hey, they actually ain't been playing because this he or she did 2-3 days prior. The level of games, hey, I'll reach out to some people who think they should be working high level or this, that. I was going into the year, what Al was saying earlier about, hey, I'm really going to say halfway, but right now, I've seen most people, still a couple of people I have not met in person that have joined the team. Registration is still open. We're a military community here, and we have people coming in. So again, I would ask that when your crew gets there, take a moment and hey, introduce yourself and just, hey, be involved with we want the pregame to be interactive and everything else. So again, I get good feedback on some guys that do, a good job and everything like that. Again, most people that's coming in from different outline areas, they're not new to the game. They're just new to the team. Okay. So again, and if you can work at a certain level, we're going to put you there. If you're not, we're going to train you up and get you where you're going to be best beneficial for the team. As we go forward, I'm getting as many 3-person JV assignments as I can. We know when we changed over from the conferences, one conference had 3, some have 2. But if I can get them to buy off on 3-person, I will, because that's what I like to train to. But other than that, I got 528. Now, all these clinics will probably be out this week. We're going to gift it to those who have not attended any, because they'll be their Christmas gift. They can look at it over all the clinics. Now, there will be more. This is the last one as far as what we put down. Now we're going to have one this Sunday, because it's the Christmas holiday, this Christmas weekend. Next weekend is going to be New Year's. So we're not going to have one of those Sundays. I will put out a training system this week, not this week, next week, we'll put some classes on our website if you want we want you to look at. Pertains to technical files, the ejection report, specific subjects that we need, the two-hand reporting. So I saw a little bit of that when people still doing. Number 21 came up here at 2-1. It's not 2-1, it's 21. Right? You're supposed to say the number. Wait, it's not the two number, because that's somebody going, you say 2-1, you write 2, they're gonna turn their head down and they're gonna start writing it down. Still got some classes I want you to take. But what it gave me the indication, those of you that went to these clinics when they were in real time versus going back and look at it, is that makes a difference. That makes a difference. But it makes a difference. Those are little indicators. Some people want to just get checked off. Everybody will be able to go look at all these clinics and see those. They'll be posted. Hopefully, we start off in January. Everybody will be at least have done on paper the right thing. When you do something more important, I mean, not just that you do it, it's when you do it. So, again, accept the games. We would say it's not a day was went for everybody that had a game worked. Unfortunately, one of the referees went out the championship game yesterday, car accident, right before on en route to the game, and someone else had to step in. And if I've called you before, either 5 minutes before a game or 2 or 3 minutes after the game should have started, whether the error was on my part, was on school's part, or anybody's part, players, whatever the case may be, hey, I appreciate that. Some people can do last minute assignments, but we know we get the playoff time. That's what it's going to be. I've had to change one game 3 times just because when I do the tournament, and I have no idea who's playing in Anson County in the tournament. Coaches, the AD is not giving me that information yet. So if someone has a conflict, I won't know. I think Mr. Harris put in there because he was in hours on the game and he got some personal knowledge of the AD there. I asking him a question about the team being properly legal and properly equipped. But again, some of the coaches will be, but I did have some conversation with someone about when I signed the championship game, it's going to be a championship game for every one of these tournaments that we have. And I signed the games early, and then a team that is perceived that you have a conflict with, now they're in the game. I got to take you off that game. I really don't like doing that. So again, some of y'all have ties to teams. When I go, but when you have teams that are not even at the school, at that site, if you block the team, that's one thing. Sometimes people block the site. You block their Sanford. Well, guess what? Every time we're playing the game at E. Smith. If we look at block Southview, hey, guess what? Southview playing at Cape Fear. So sometimes when they're doing that, and people did a good job of calling me and say, look, you know what? I work at that school. They make this game. I need to come off that game. Then, so again, those things happen. So this tournament play, if that happens, I'll let you know. But right now, all I know is if you see, if you've got assignments, got TBA, I have no idea. It's the first time we're doing things in Anson. So I don't know who the teams are, but once I find out, probably tomorrow, because the game's on Tuesday, I'll put those teams in. I'd like for you to know who you're officiating. For the good of the group, does we have anybody with any comments or questions?
Errol, all the clinics are on the YouTube channel, and the ones where for a review, and if you need to make up a clinic, we'll get those addresses out to you hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll be able to get it processed.
And again, I have full confidence that people are going to do it. Because a lot of times people do things just to get, just to get checked off. So you want something in the end. But when people participate in the clinics when they happen, I'll view that a little different. Hopefully you want to learn something. Because if you need to have this, some people, you need to have a certain score to do the playoffs. You got to have a certain score to do this. And there'll be those people who want to just check the box. And we'll see that, right? But I would like to say, as I told the coach yesterday, that I make every assignment. Don't have an assistant. I make every assignment in association. So if they feel like you weren't up to doing that particular game, that's on me. I would take ownership. I'll sign the wrong person to a game. But if now, but you know, I mean, I got some ownership in that as well. That's why I say I go out and I want to see you work. I want to make sure I set you up for success. Some of you all have done, I mean, you trending upward, and I appreciate that. And I want you to continue to work hard. I mean, some of the games have been outstanding, and I'm enjoy watching some of the way you work the game. Anybody got anything else? Like I say, you'll be able to get. Now we've got a couple weeks here. Again, we still have games going on, so keep your stuff. Don't assume. Like I say, only games I've signed so far this week. If you get a game right now, that means hey, this game was added. Someone came off. You say yesterday I was in the gym at the Fayetteville State when I got a phone call. Somebody was actually just be there, had their stuff with them. They did the championship game as a referee. So again, always be ready. Because again, this is, don't let, we had quarantine. A lot of people had the quarantine weight. Hope you didn't, I hope you didn't look out you got sticking around your stomach. Hey, I hope you get rid of it. I mean, hey, if you know it's, hey, just because you're not working games over the next couple of weeks, hey, you're still gonna have an appetite. Push away from the table. Hey, do some exercise, do some things. Because again, some of you gonna have work. I mean, I'm gonna get those games out. I got the schedules for both West Bladen, Clinton, and East Columbus, and I will hopefully sign those out tomorrow. Okay, but again, I want to get everybody some work. I want to get people to work because that's what this is about. I'm gonna need you down the. I need you. We're gonna want you on the game down the stretch. Anybody got anything?
Hey, Earl, Daryl Jenkins.
Yes, sir, DJ.
Hey, I just want to make a comment on officials' uniforms. Guys, and ladies, let's make sure that we check our uniforms, make sure we have some kind of control device to keep our shirts in our pants, make sure our pants tailored or either taken in if they need to. I've noticed a lot of officials running down the floor, spending more time tucking their shirt in and pulling their pants up instead of concentrating on the ball game. So that's just a nugget to make sure that the uniform is proper, because it's hard to tell a player to put his shirt tail in if your shirt tail is not in. Thank you.
Errol saying that now. Again, and maybe that's what it is. Nobody wants to be. My greatest experience, and my expertise come from my experience. Okay, so and nobody wants to be a hypocrite. And that's, I think, I'm sitting there a lot of times. I was in the game I saw a game the other day where all 5 players from one team had to shirt out. All 5 players. Ball was come there. Then finally one referee came in and made it. Again, that's what, because you don't care. Somebody else, well, Errol, I don't look here. But that's part of what our responsibilities are. Okay. Hey, we got to make sure they're doing it. Even the other day, game with totally the referee, I could see him. He instructed the player, look, you're gonna do it, or I'm gonna remove you from the game. What did the player do? Those are little things. You do the little things, the big things take care of themselves. Again, and don't feel like when people are saying this, it's for the good of the group, guys. Everybody on this call is officials. We want to, hey, it's our reputation. I mean, on and off the court. I mean, I got a comment. I took it as a compliment, not just for me, but for you all. About officials, how they clean up. I mean, people that went to championship game, how they was dressed, how you conduct yourself. And it says something about the officiating community. That's why it was good that, hey, all the power volleyball team, soccer, the football officials, for Frank, Roger, Tony, Anthony Ferguson coming out and receiving at a basketball tournament their state championship plaques. But Elizabeth and Keith come from out of town. I mean, Daryl Bucket worked the game to do that. That's professionalism. Dan Hines, he's the Men's Academy AD. His wife came out and took pictures and got some of those claps and, you know, some applause there because it is what we do. Take that 100-question test, go to 6 local clinics, giving your time today, going to doing all the things that we do, taking the country course, all the things that travel. I mean, we need the JJ White has we order some cards. We're gonna start a big time recruiting effort over this as we start the spring sports, and probably add some things out at the remaining tournaments, or to try to get some more people interested. I got a couple of new people on here on the line today that I sent invite to, and I'm gonna try to get some more people there. You know what I'm saying? We need to get younger. We just need to get better. But again, we're gonna go with who's with us. Some of you are gonna work more games, I'll say, when the year starts. I mean, we have enough officials. We didn't have this many last year. But remember, we didn't work in the fall and say the fall of 2021. We just worked now. But last year we didn't work. We didn't start to January of 21. This year we didn't start the public school season. But it's going to be a lot more opportunities to work. But like I say, I got to follow up on a couple of situations, and those of you know who I'm talking to. I'm seeing some video. I just didn't do it the other day because we had all this other stuff. I don't want you to. I see your video. I want you to look at it and necessarily, hey, I'm not. Hopefully, some of you I know judge yourself based on the game that you get and your value based on what level you're at. I hope you don't do that because I want to work you at every level. I want you to be able to work at every level because there's basketball played at every level. That's all I have. Thanks for your time. Have a great week. Update the arbiter. As soon as I get off, I'm gonna see who has not accepted the game. I'm gonna get that done. I'm gonna input the 3 tournaments for next week. And the first games next week start at East Columbus starts at 1 o'clock, and the games at West Bladen and Clinton start at 2. All right, they got 2, 4, 6, 8 for those. That's all I have. Thanks, guys.
Hey, John, did you put up the attendance sheet today?
I did, but I stopped putting it up 15 minutes after the clinic started.
Oh, you did? Okay.
But I got you, Herman.
Okay, thank you.
Make
You
sure-
answered my question.
Okay. Get credit, guys. Get credit for it. I use these sheets.
Earl, you answered my question. I sent you in that personal text. It's Ross.
Did I know I saw you, Roscoe, when I welcome back. Yes, Roscoe. You'll get that by Wednesday this week. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
No, you back too, right? You good, Roscoe, right?
Yeah, I just got back from Cancun. Sorry about
I
that.
know. Okay. All right. No, I see you. There's somebody in your face, but yeah, I saw you early. All right.
Hey, John.
You be working
John.
next week, Roscoe. I got some for you.
All right,
John,
thanks.
All right.
you got me. This is Dan Wright.
I got you when you came in.
Appreciate you, brother.
This is O'Merick McKinnon. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you when you came in.
Thank you, sir.
John, what about Kelvin Williams?
Kelvin, I got you.
Dwayne McCormick. Dwayne McCormick.
Ho. Everybody's starting to come at me at the same time. Dwight who?
Dwayne McCormick.
Dwayne McCormick.
Yes.
You got me, John? Joe Higgins?
Hold on. I got to get Dwayne first.
Okay.
Dwayne, what was your last name?
McCormick.
All right. Paul, I got you.
All brand.
You put your stuff in, Paul. I got it.
You got me,
Steve
John?
James.
Joe Higgins?
Higgins, I got you.
Steve James.
You
Did you get Dwayne McCormick?
You got Snake and Clay.
Hey, if all of you just start saying you got me, I don't have you. Because if I don't say your name back, I don't have you. Because everybody's saying it at the same time.
All right, Snake,
Oliver, yes, I got you.
Clay Parker,
Hold on.
I can't-
I don't have him.
Steve James, John.
Steven, I can't look right this minute. I'm trying to get him in. Hold on 1 second, please.
Okay.
Hey, John.
Hold on. I'm trying to catch people. Steven James,
got
I got
Clay?
you. I got Clay.
All right,
Thank you.